Hey everybody, it's Mama M, and I am making a special video today to talk briefly about a subject that has kind of caught fire this morning on the Pagan Mama Facebook page, and that is what is currently referred to as the Great Gun Debate. It seems like there's a lot of heated back and forth comments on this topic in light of this morning's shooting at Oklahoma University. It's always something that really gets to me when there is a school shooting for obvious reasons. I don't understand, like many of you, why all of a sudden this is a trend. The only thing that sticks out in my mind is these are usually very troubled individuals who want to make a name for themselves, want to go down in history, and the more we talk about them and the more we focus on them and their lives and go through their history and try and dig up all the information on them and continue to publicly discuss them on the internet and on TV and through other forms of media, the more we immortalize them, and that's what they wanted in the first place. And I know it's hard not to do that because the American public wants to know who this was and why they did the things that they did. But the long and short of it is, if we stop making such a public spectacle of that person and giving you all the information about that person, then, you know, one would think at least that these school shootings and massacres and things will at least slow down, if not stop altogether, because the people who are doing it are not getting what they want. I mean, you know the names of the people who have committed these crimes in the past couple of years. You know everything about them as far as the media has told you. And that's exactly what I think they're looking for is, you know, they come from troubled backgrounds, they were bullied, etc., whatever their excuse is, and now they are absolutely immortalized by the media, and everyone knows who they are. And they think they went down in a blaze of glory when that was not the case at all. So there are two different extreme standpoints as far as gun control, gun laws, etc. On the one side, you have the people who are legal gun owners and are saying, hey, it's my constitutional right to own a weapon. And it is. It is your constitutional right to own and carry weapons without legal repercussions, as long as you don't kill anybody, don't shoot at anybody, don't damage anybody's property, common sense, okay? Now, from that same standpoint, I would go as far as to say 99% of the people who commit these crimes do not own the weapons that they are shooting with. So you can't really hold accountable the responsible gun-owning population for their guns getting into the hands of unstable people who are not allowed to own guns in the first place. So stronger gun control is not going to solve that problem. What I think will help solve the problem is education, and we've got to do something about how our kids are growing up, because that is going to play a major role in how many more of these heinous massacres are going to happen in our near future and in our children's and grandchildren's generations. We have to figure out what's causing it and stop that in order to stop that kind of violence. So a couple of different things I want to talk about, and I know this is controversial, so kind of bear with me. I am a pagan. I have been a pagan for 15 years, 16 now, just had a birthday. And I am also a registered gun owner. My husband and I combined own more than 15 different weapons, all different styles, all different ages. We've both taken a concealed carry permit class, which means that legally we can carry a weapon concealed without anyone knowing about it. We abide by the rules of that, which in our state of Nevada is, you can't go in any government building with a weapon on you. You can't go into a hospital. Anywhere where it's posted that you cannot have your weapon, you cannot have your weapon. Otherwise, our state is an open carry state, which means if you are within your legal rights as far as where you are, if your gun can be seen from the naked eye, you're welcome to walk around with it hanging out of your pocket. And we don't have the kind of crime that some states who have outlawed weapons pretty much altogether have. So, it's not cut and dry as far as what's okay and what's not okay as far as gun control. Putting stricter laws on things isn't going to do any bit of damage to what's going on here, because like I said earlier, the people who are committing these crimes are not using guns that are registered to themselves because they've already proved themselves unfit to own a firearm. So what are some ways that we can make sure that our guns do not get into the hands of the wrong people? Obviously, lock them up. California has very strict gun laws as far as keeping a lock on the trigger, keeping the gun in a locked compartment or locked safe. If you don't have lockers for the trigger, there's so many different things that you can do to make sure that if someone were to get their hands on your guns, they could not fire them. So it comes down to responsibility. On the other hand, if someone were to break into your home in the middle of the night and you needed to use a weapon to protect yourself, you shouldn't have to go searching for the keys to unlock that trigger lock or unlock the safe. And, excuse me, Mr. Robber Rapist, but if you could just give me 5 minutes to load my weapon. You see what I'm saying? So there are just times that call for you to be able to grab a loaded gun and handle your business for the safety of your family. So in that respect, then you need to make sure that the people around you who know about your weapons and know where they're located and know where they're loaded or where to get the ammo to load them, have the respect for your home, your life, your weapons, etc. Now, growing up, my dad always had guns in the house, and my siblings and I were taught that guns are dangerous, and any questions that we had about them were addressed rather than the guns just being hidden away, because as anyone can tell you as a parent, if you tell your child don't touch it and don't ask questions, they're gonna touch it. So you have to be raised with that respect. Once we were old enough to hold a weapon, our dad would take us out and teach us how to shoot. He's an avid dove hunter, and my very, very Christian sister at one point even dove hunted with him for years. And they, it wasn't just for sport, they ate them, but it, that was their deal. That was their bonding time. And I think my sister was as young as 10 or 11 when she was able to physically handle some of the smaller firearms. Being raised with that kind of awareness of what guns are capable of and being able to, in a structured setting, handle the weapons and see firsthand what they can do takes the curiosity out of it. It gives you a respect for the weapon. So I think that's really important, that instead of teaching our kids, hey, guns are bad, we need to explain to them exactly what they're capable of, what they should and should not be used for, and the repercussions of what can happen if you use one incorrectly or illegally. Secondly, if you look at the history of the people who are committing these kind of crimes, they all kind of have the same background story. They were a loner, they didn't get included in anything, people made fun of them, they were bullied, they had a bad home life. The anti-bullying campaign is huge right now, and it's about damn time, if I do say so myself. I was always a heavier kid, so I got picked on sometimes, and luckily I was strong enough to stand up for myself and, find my niche in life and find a good group of friends who provided a support system where I didn't really care what those people had to say anymore. But not everybody is like that. Some people are more emotionally fragile. And it's important that we raise our kids to understand that just because somebody is different from them doesn't mean that it's okay to pick on them. Sometimes the kids who are the most shy need the most attention, And so if you can teach your kids that it's really important to treat everybody fairly and make an effort to include everyone, then we can make leaps and bounds worth of progress as far as making sure that there isn't that one kid anymore who snaps and goes on a killing spree. I mean, that's just the tip of the iceberg, but that's a really important factor in this as well. So it's important to look at all those different pieces of the puzzle when you start going off on your opinion about gun control. Yeah, I don't think that they should be taken away from legal gun owners, and I'm not totally opposed to the whole registration process. I mean, I'm from California, so I've gone through the registration process for each firearm before. That's not an issue because I know that my history dictates I am legally allowed to own them. Now, there's a lot of things going on the news right now where states like California are talking about making each and every piece of ammunition traceable, and I'm not opposed to that either because, you know, if you've done what you're supposed to do and you haven't done anything illegal with your weapon and someone comes to you and says, well, you know, this bullet is registered to you or you bought it at Walmart or whatever, you know, you need to be the one who's responsible for making sure that everything's taken care of on your end. If your gun was to get into the wrong hands, you need to know on that day that it's gone, and you need to report it as stolen or, you know, missing or whatever. You have to take that initiative to kind of glance over, I guess, your inventory every day and know if something is missing or out of place, because you will be held responsible should that gun get into the wrong hands and someone do something bad with it. So make sure you take a look at everything that you're doing and make sure that if you can't lock everything up or you refuse to lock everything up, that you know exactly where every firearm in your name is at all times. We can't avoid the mess of unregistered firearms. We just can't. It doesn't matter how much restriction and control you try to put on it. I mean, okay, heroin is against the law and people are still doing it and still being imported into the country and people are still selling it on the streets. And it doesn't matter how much we say everybody absolutely cannot do heroin, it's still going to be there. So, you know, there's just a lot of different things that we as the American public or any country's public need to do to ensure our safety as a whole. So I think that's where we really need to get to the root of the problem, make sure that we are raising our children with a knowledge and a respect of a firearm and what it does and what it's capable of and what the repercussions are, and also, you know, to look out for those loner kids. What's going on with them? You know, be their friend. Try and include them rather than going, well, that, you know, Jimmy's weird and he smells funny and he never talks to anybody. Because alienating those kind of students who are already fragile just makes them grow up even more fragile. So, phone's ringing. I gotta go. I'm long-winded anyway, but thanks for sticking around, and I welcome any questions. I'll try to do a follow-up. Thanks.